tribe, how you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. Listen, we are here. This is going to be Power Book 2, Episode 1, Season 1. Now, I don't know how long this is going to last because, we have a Book 3, a Book 4. We just found out we got a Book 5, or was that Book 4? Whatever. So, I don't know how many seasons this is going to run. I guess, I don't know. But let's just go ahead and jump into it. Now, towards the end of Power, I started getting very frustrated. I started feeling like the writing was just bad, and it was so many like holes in logic and all of that. So I said, watching this, I have a choice I can make at this point. I can either continue to pick at, obvious bullshit storylines, or I can just enjoy it for what it is. So I'm just going to decide to enjoy it for what it is. And I will say this. I think that they did a really good job of the transition, because I was thinking, how in the hell are we going to pick up with 24 hours after, what happened, and Tariq is supposed to be this big drug kingpin or whatever. So I think they did a good job of that. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. So Tariq is at Stansfield. Tasha's still in jail, and we pick up with her arraignment. So, Tariq wakes up that morning. He's supposed to have a meeting with the dean, but of course he has to go to court. He has to go to court for his mom. And we get to court, and what I say as the viewers, didn't necessarily take into consideration moving into this new storyline is how Ghost was positioned politically, and how the Democratic Party is not going to want this on them. So we see Tasha is being arraigned, and my girl, what's her name? See, I wrote my names down, y'all, so I know these people's names. But the attorney, we see a whole lot of people, child. Now I don't have her name in my face, but anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. The girl the woman who was Erica. No, Tamika. Alright, y'all. Tamika. Remember the one who was Saxon's boss, and then she got fired, and then she became an attorney? So she's actually representing Tasha. And the DA is trying to throw the book at Tasha, and then they get the phone call basically saying, listen, this man was going to be the next lieutenant governor. You might want to, chill out a little bit. You might not want to make it seem like he was the second coming of the devil. And they end up offering Tasha this sweet ass deal where basically she wasn't going to get any jail time or anything like that. All she has to do is allocute in court. The problem is Tamika is like, listen, I can't suborn perjury, so you need to make sure you're telling the truth. And so she asked the question, and she asked Tasha a question that she can't answer. She was like, hold up. She said, I can't suborn perjury. If you can't answer my question in court, they can ask you anything they want. And if your story doesn't add up, the deal goes out the door, and then you're gonna be up for murder, and my license is in jeopardy. So if you can't be honest and tell me exactly, because it seems like you have an accomplice, and if you can't tell me who your accomplice is, you can't make that make sense. Because they asked her, how did you know Ghost was going to be where he was going to be at that time? Like, you had to have somebody there that let you know. And of course, that person was Tariq, who she ain't going to say. So Tamika was like, listen, I need that information. If you can't give me that information, then we have a problem. So Tasha ends up firing her. Rather than tell her the truth or having to go through with it, whatever, Tasha ends up firing her. So outside the courthouse, I'm moving a little ahead of myself, child. But Tariq and his grandmother and the baby, that baby finally done grew up. The baby looks like she's about 8, 9 years old now. I can appreciate that. But, grandmother is like, Tariq, you need to come home. You need to come be with us, go to school and everything. And he was like, no, I got to stay where I am. He said, because I need to finish school so I can help you and mom. Because remember, in Ghost's will, Tariq has to graduate from college before he gets his inheritance. And Ghost left everything to the kids. Tasha doesn't have access to any of it other than over his account. And now that she's in jail, she can't even do that. So grandma is like, Tariq, you really need to process this. Like, I need you to really work this out. And Tariq was like, yeah, no, we got to get mom out of jail. So the DA is willing to offer her a sweet deal, but she got remanded. She didn't get to come home. Honey, Tariq told me something, I got money. Child, that little couple of $100 you threw in that book, that notebook at the beginning, that wasn't going to get your mama home. Even if they had given her bail for murder, boy, bye. But, of course, it just goes to show the naivete of the legal system and what the real deal is. So after the court case, the arraignment and his mama is remanded, he has to run back to school and meet with the dean. And of course, he's meeting with the dean and he's meeting with the booster, the club dude. And the dean of the school is a black woman, but she immediately lets Tariq know. Listen, because Tariq ends up being late, of course. But my thing is, how y'all didn't know his mama was being arraigned? Like, you had to know where he was and why he was late. But okay. And she kind of gets on him a little bit about, not being a stereotype of being on CP time and all of that. And they go on to let him know, listen, he's a great booster and he got you in here, even though he probably, you probably shouldn't be here, but it's not for free. You are going to be tutoring. Well, first, what was funny was first they were asking him, are you sure you're going to be able to keep up with the demands of the program? And this is a very rigorous school, and are you ready? And then they're going to say, oh, well, the only way you can stay here is if you tutor a basketball player. And basically, if he don't pass, you don't pass. And I'm like, and they're making them roommates because he had a room to himself, but now he's going to have a roommate. And I'm thinking to myself, so one minute you worried about whether he can keep up with the demands. The next minute you making him basically do double time. Because he was like, well, what am I going to be tutoring him in? And they were like, everything. So basically, this is a basketball player that you... Damn fly, sorry. This is a basketball player that basically you gave a scholarship to who really shouldn't be there and probably can't meet the academic rigor of it, right? All right. So they bringing all this stuff together. So from there, his name is... and that the basketball player's name is... Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel. Yeah, I think that's it. Ezekiel. Yeah. I'm trying to get all these names together. So, Tariq is on his way to class, and he can't find the building, and Miss Lauren helps him find the building, and she proceeds to give him, basically the rundown, like, listen, because he has to meet with his advisor. The dean has hooked him up with a minority adjustment advisor, whatever. And Tariq was like, I don't even know why she sent me there. Like, I've been going to white schools my whole life. Like, I've been the minority my whole life. Like, I don't understand, what the problem is. And so, she was like, well, maybe because of your unique situation, like, you got a little bit more on your plate than the rest of us. Maybe they think you need some help. So she lets him know, listen, there's not that many of us in the freshman class. Like, it'd be great if you took some of the classes we're taking so we can kind of be there together. And, I need to make sure that you down, like you black down, like you black like this, not like this down, And so, he was like, yeah, it's cool, like it is what it is. So he goes to meet with the advisor. The advisor seems pretty cool. Her mother went there, and her mother married a white guy, and so she now works there. And and he said, well, I heard about the nautical studies program. And I heard that if you do well in that program, you get to graduate early. Because remember, Tariq is like, listen, I got to get this degree and get the hell out of here as soon as possible. And she said, well, yeah, but that's a really hard program, and you're already behind. Like you already will be starting a week behind. Like, I don't know if that's where you need to be focusing your studying right now. And he was like, listen, I'm good. Just tell me what I need to do to try to get into the program, and, we're going to figure it out. So she gives him a book called The Stranger. She said, it's an oral exam. You need to read this book. You need to be prepared to basically discuss, the ins and the outs of it. And he was like, okay, and of course Tariq is doing that shit that Tariq does. He did it with the meeting with the dean. He did it with her. He says all the right stuff. And yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I think that would be really great. Like, I think I could be a really great asset to that program. Y'all know how Tariq know how to code switch that shit up. So... then we see that his advisor goes to talk to one of the other faculty. He's a black professor. And she says, listen, I think this kid really has some potential. Like, I need you to give him the exam, and I need you to help me convince the dean of the program to give him a chance. Like, even though he's a week behind. Oh, boy ain't feeling it. Oh, boy is like, listen, I don't know how I feel about all of this because, He a week behind, and everybody, of course, knows who Tariq is and knows his situation. And she was like, listen, let's just give him a chance, and if he impresses you, then you'll help me convince, the dean to let him in the program. And he was like, look, if he impresses me, which he probably won't, then I will see. Tariq gets back to his dorm. No. I'm out of order. So by this time, Tasha done called Tariq. I think that's where I am. By this time, Tasha done called Tariq and let Tariq know that she's fired Tamika. She's fired the lawyer, and that she's got a public defender, but don't worry about it. I'll handle it. And Tariq was like, what you mean you gonna handle it? Like, what is wrong? Like, you can't, what, huh, how, who? So, no, Tamika actually called Tariq first. My bad. Tamika called Tariq. And he was like, well, what do we need to do to get you back? She was like, I can't be her lawyer because I know she's lying, and I can't suborn perjury. And he was like, okay, well, what kind of lawyer do I need to find? She was like, you need to find a lawyer that doesn't care about people lying. And he was like, what the heck? Like, what the hell? Who? In comes Method Man. So Tariq runs him down. I guess either Tariq done told him the name or he done found out the name. And he ends up quartering Method Man after, he comes out of court. And he was like, listen, look, son, I don't have time for it, you don't have the money and I don't have the time, and your mama need more help than I can really give her or whatever. And Tariq was like, well, how much is it going to cost me if you take the case? He was like, 500 G's, like liquid money. Like, I don't take no credit cards, I don't take no promises. So Tariq was like, all right, bet. So immediately Tariq now needs to get back on his grind, right? Because now he got to come up with $500,000. So he goes back to his dorm. He's trying to figure. No. See, I always keep going out of order, y'all. He goes over Grandma's house, and of course, Grandma's trying to get him to talk to her. Like, come on, Tariq, talk to me. I know you're going through a lot right now. Let Grandma be here for you. And Tariq was like, Grandma, I need to find some information. Either you go help, or you gonna leave me alone because I'm busy. And he's going through Tasha's old records. He's trying to find the stripper that used to sell the drugs for her at the nursery. So he's going through all the daycare trying to find the right the name to go with the baby so he can get in touch with her. So while they're there, Tasha calls, and that's when they have the conversation about her having a public defender and stuff. And of course he starts talking in code, and he starts asking her about who the woman is, because he's trying to find her, because he's trying to get the money for her to get a lawyer. Tasha tells him, don't do it. Stay away from it. I will handle it. I have a public defender. I'm good. And of course, Tariq is like, yeah, right. Public defender my ass. Whatever. He finds out the right baby. He gets in touch. He rolls up at the strip club to talk to old girl. She don't watch the news, so she don't know nothing. She don't know Tasha in jail. She don't know none of it. And when Tariq told her what was going on, she was like, damn, like, a bitch need to start watching the news. Like, all this was going on. So she said, listen, if you can get the product, I can, I'll move it for you. I owe your mother a favor. He was like, okay, bet. He gets back to his dorm room, and who's sitting up in his dorm room but his old friend from Choke, right? White boy. Come to find out, he's a legacy. That's the school that his whole family goes to. They got buildings named after them and everything. And he coming from the attitude of, oh man, the dynamic duo is back together. Like, he was like that. The way that whole situation went down in Choke was real messed up. I'm glad that we were able to kind of link back up. And basically, I hope it ain't no hard feelings. I hope me and you cool. And Tariq was like, yeah, we cool. It's whatever. And Tariq actually smiled. Like, this dude, like, actually had Tariq smiling for the first time. Hell, I don't think in a season we saw Tariq with a genuine smile on his face, And then he brings up old girl, Effie, the girl that set him up. And he was like, yeah, whatever happened to her? He was like, well, she got into Yale, He was like, let me get her number. So Tariq rolls up on her, and she was like, I'm sorry, it was nothing personal, it was just business, you were doing it for fun. I couldn't even buy books, and I had to eliminate the competition. I had to make more money, She was like, he's like, so all of it was just, all of it was a game. She was like, no, I really did care about you, and I know you got a lot going on. If you need to talk to me, I'm here. I'm still here. And of course, Tariq gave her the yeah, okay. And he ends up getting some drugs from her. Why he rob her though? She was like, you're not gonna pay me? He was like, it's just business, right? Why he robbed the girl? I said, damn you, Tariq. So now he got some drugs. He has a way to move them. He takes the drugs down to the chick at the strip club, and she was like, I'll move them. I'll give you your cut in the morning. He was like, get as much as you can. I need this bread. She was like, no problem. Now, rewind a little bit to Tariq meeting his roommate. He meets Ezekiel. Now, here's where we going to see a lot of this, where we get to the bigger picture. Of course, he's the typical jock. Tariq walks in on him having sex with the cheerleader, and it is what it is. Tariq know what the deal is. He know basically I'm here to do your work and my work and whatever it is. It's that. So Zeke ends up inviting him down to a party at his aunt's house in Queens to basically celebrate him getting into college and everything. So they get to the party, and of course, it's this beautiful house. And Tariq was like, yo, this where you from? He was like, nah. He said, this is my aunt's house. He was like, but, this was the address I used, basically, I guess, for high school so he could go to a better high school. He said, and I basically live here, so my cousins are more like my brother and sister. Get to the party, and it is, you can hear the woofers and all that. It's like, dun, dun, dun. They playing that old school, Naughty by Nature. It's good. You know what I mean? The party is full and everything. And he was like, you'll see. He gets to the party, and, it's wall-to-wall people, and everybody's congratulating him. It's a nice cake and all of that, It's all great. Everything is cool. And he ends up meeting more of the family. He wants to go to the bathroom before they go out to the backyard where it's like a pool and a real nice big backyard and everything. He opens up the bathroom door. It's a dude in there getting some head, right? So Tariq goes out back to meet up with Zeke again. I really hope that boy... I wrote the boy name down too, y'all. I don't know why I can't find his name. I wrote it down. Because Ezekiel don't sound right. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong, child. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. Anyway, I did take notes though, because it's a lot. Anyway, so when Tariq comes out, he was like, yo, that bathroom occupied. I think it's going to be busy for a minute. He was like, oh, that's no problem. It's a bathroom in the basement. You can go down there. So a couple of the dudes kind of overheard what Tariq was saying. Now, when that first happened, in my mind, I was thinking they recognized Tariq, and maybe this is some dudes that Tariq then came in somewhere along the line that they, because they were kind of looking at Tariq kind of funny, and I was like, oh, shit, like, what's this about, right? But that's not what it was. They heard bathroom, and they knew old boy was like, his girlfriend was in the bathroom. So dude comes out, and, people dapping him up, the guy that was in the bathroom getting head. And the girl come out behind him, and so old boy confronts him. He was like, yo, you know, what you was doing with my girl? He was like, oh, that was your bitch? And they get ready to, fight. Come to find out that the dude that was getting head in the bathroom, that's his cousin. That's his house. His mama, that's their house. The mama, Mary J. Blige. We also meet the sister who Tariq sort of, they get to flirt a little bit. They had a good little conversation a little bit. And so the two dudes get to fighting. And basically, Mary J. Blige was like, get your punk ass out of here. So old girl was like, so he was like, let's go. He talking to his girlfriend like, yo, let's go. She was like, I'm staying. So, of course, now he's double pissed off and embarrassed. So he rolls out, and Mary J. Blige says to her son, she was like, you know he gonna be back. So you know what you need to do. He was like, yeah. So dude ends up, of course, he eventually does end up coming back. And he got a gun. And Mary J. Blige is like, man, get up out of here. You know you ain't about to do nothing. Like, you ain't really about to put in no work. Get the hell up out of here. And he was like, dude, so then the son rolls up from behind where Mary J. Blige is with a sawed-off shotgun. So dude really was like, all right, let me get the hell out of here. Police roll up. Mary J. Blige goes and have a conversation with him, like, nah, we good, everything is cool, it ain't no problem, just a little kids being kids type situation. I couldn't really tell if she had the police sort of like on her payroll kind of thing, or if they really just was like, oh, okay, cool, it's no big deal, whatever. So while this part was going on, Tariq is in another part of the house talking to the girl, right? And they having a decent conversation. Nothing major, but you could tell they was flirting a little bit, And I'm sorry, they were flirting a little bit or whatever. And we found out that her father is in jail, and the mama, so you picking up on what's going on there, that basically they're another criminal family, And honestly, the son and Mary J. Blige's relationship is really the relationship that Tariq wanted with Ghost. Remember, Tariq wanted to work with Ghost. Like, he wanted that, because that's why Kanan was able to get so close to Tariq, because Tariq is criminal minded. He wanted that life. So the fact that Mary J. Blige and her son got that mindset, that criminal mindset, that's what Tariq wanted from his dad. So you sort of see that parallel. Tariq gets a text from Braden, and he got to go. And Braden is the white boy from Choke. That's when they went down to the strip club to go sell the narcotics. Now, while all of this is going on the other side of the world, we done ran into some people we already know. We got Cooper. We got Saxe. Saxe, of course, now has been elevated. He's the new state's attorney. And we meet his family. We come to find out that he comes from good stock. He comes from a little money. He's the joke of the family. His mom's nickname for him is Nancy. But they got a little bit of money. They a little richy rich, And basically, they're all very accomplished. And Cooper is sort of the fuck up, which we know that. And he, his brother is clowning him like, there's going to be a position open at my job pretty soon. He's like this corporate attorney or whatever. And Saxe was like, I'm sorry, do you not understand that I just got this brand new great job, which is the reason why we're even having dinner together right now. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, but eventually you're going to need a job because you're going to fuck up. Like that's just kind of how they feel, like you're going to fuck up. So, Cooper goes to work the next day, and here come old boy, what's his name? The one that got the promotion that was down in D.C., and the DNC lawyer that we met, at the end of Power. They want him to put Tasha on federal charges and charge her as a queen pin statue, because they wanted to look like whatever criminal activity that was going on was all on Tasha, and that James St. Patrick didn't know nothing about it, because again, even though he's dead now, they don't want him to look like he did anything wrong. They don't want it to look like he was a part of any criminal organization, so they want to put it all on Tasha. And Saxe is just like, I can't do that, because remember, Saxe is really helping out Tariq, because Tariq saw Saxe down there with a gun at Truth. So Saxe is like, I can't do that, because basically it's gonna put a target on my back. And of course he's not saying that to them, and they were like, listen, if you really want to keep this job and you really want to do what you're supposed to do, then you're gonna have to eat it, and you're gonna have to charge her, you're gonna have to put her on this queen pin status. So he really ain't trying to do it, and okay, so we'll get to that. Now, while this is going on, back at the school, Tariq is trying to get into this nautical program. And he had to read a book called The Stranger. And he didn't finish the book. And he tried to BS his way through it like he normally does. You know how Tariq thinks he can talk his way out of everything. But they sort of stuck him because he didn't understand what happened. He didn't finish the book. And he told him, he was like, listen, I didn't finish the book. He said, but honestly, the book was boring me. And he tried to sort of talk his way around it. And it didn't work. He didn't impress any of them, but his advisor was still trying to fight for him. And she was like, listen, this boy is dealing with the fact that his mom, just got charged with murder. She had court yesterday. She was like, he only had the book for 24 hours. Do you know what else he had to do in those 24 hours? Do we know what else he has going on and what's going on in his life? She was like, I think we deserve it. It deserves to give him another chance. So Lauren, the girl he ran into walk across campus, she invites him out to coffee, and basically the advisor had told Lauren, go help him, because she convinced them to give him a second chance. So Tariq was like, I really don't, he was like, I finished the book last night. I don't really need any help. And he gave this whole breakdown about the book, and the book is about a guy who murders his mother and what happens as a result of that or whatever. And Tariq was like, listen, this book, they want to make it seem like he just made a mistake or he just got caught. At the end of the day, murder is a choice. And he chose to murder her, and he dealt with the consequences. And everything he did was a choice. Picking up a gun was a choice. Deciding to move with a gun. So she was like, wow. She was like, you know what? I think you should tell them that. Like, and he gets a second chance, and of course he knocks it out the park, and he impresses them. But while he's out there having coffee with Lauren, Sax rolls up on him, and Sax was like, listen, why didn't your mama take the deal? Like, I set the whole thing up real sweet. Like, I got Tamika to represent her. Tamika got her this sweetheart deal. I helped put the deal on the table. What the hell? He was like, he said, because they want to know who her accomplice is. And so Tasha told him it was Andre. But they were able to eliminate it was Andre, because Andre, even though he's dead now, he didn't have any GSR, whatever that shit is when you shoot a gun. He didn't have any on his clothes. So they eliminated him. They eliminated her. They knew she wasn't the shooter because they were able to realize that the shooter was a certain height. You know, Tasha like 5 foot nothing. So she wasn't the shooter. And he was like, listen, your mother is going to have to tell the truth. Like, because we're going to have to corroborate the story. But if she can give us the truth and we can corroborate the story, guess what? We can move on. Like, we can do this, and then everybody goes home and it's all gravy. And so Tariq is like, listen, all right, let me try to convince my mom, to tell, because of course she can't tell the truth, obviously. So they're trying to come up with another viable suspect that they're gonna be able to believe. So by this time, he done got his cut off the dancer money, and because now the DA is mad, and she wants to throw the book at Tasha. She want to charge Tasha with 25 murders now because she was like Tasha lied to her. So Sax was like, listen, you need to get to your mom, and we need to fix this, So he went to Tamika. Sax went to Tamika. His dumb ass to let Tamika know that he was there at the scene of the he was there, and that he could possibly be seen as a suspect. She was like, boy, if you don't get out of here, we never had this conversation. You will not set me up in this bullshit. So by this time, Tariq has the cut of the drug money, and he meets up with Method Man, and he lets Method Man know, listen, he only had $50,000, which I still think you made $50,000 in one night was a lot of damn money, but, I mean, who am I? I've never been a drug dealer, so. And Method Man was like, listen, this will buy you a week. He was like, that's all I need is a week, because, of course, in Tariq's mind, all they need, they're going to get this sweetheart-ass deal, like, that's all they need is a week. He goes down there to talk to Tasha, and he lets Tasha know, listen, you can't blame Dre, because they've already eliminated him. Like, they know you're not the shooter, because you ain't tall enough. He was like, listen, I'm going to say this for the first time I probably ever said to one of my clients, including my own brother, you need to tell the truth. And so then she says, he said, because Tariq said, when you told Method Man, when you go talk to my mother, tell her I said, tell her to tell the truth. I'm not afraid of the consequences. Tell the truth. And so when Method Man told her that, she was like, are you sure he said that? Method Man was like, yeah. And I'm sure that you could tell by his affect and stuff that he sort of figured out what the deal is. But of course, he a shiesty type lawyer. He ain't going to say too much. So he was like, he ends up basically tell Tasha pretty much, you better come up with something good so we can all, we can get this over with and everything could be said and done, allocute. So he gets the deal back for her. Method Man is able to get the deal back that they had already agreed to. Now, while all of this is going on, they show us the situation with Mary J. Blige and her son. They end up going and murdering the kid from the party. He ends up shooting him, right? And so again, that was just put in there to let us know that, how they rolling, right? And the fact that they rolling together, right? So again, that's the relationship that he wanted with his dad, and of course they never quite got there. So we get the call for Tasha's arraignment. Method Man, she got her wig back on, honey. She looking good for this one. Tariq basically tricked Method Man into taking his case. He went on social media and basically said, I want to thank you for taking my case, for, wanting to help out a black family and support the black family. And of course, that he went on social media, that pressured him into taking the case. So, Method Man was like, you tricked me. I can't be mad at your hustle, but you tricked me. Um, so anyway, they get into court, and Tasha agrees to allocute. You know, she agrees to do the whole situation, and she names Tommy as the shooter. Well, Tommy ain't there. Tommy in California somewhere doing whatever the hell Tommy's doing. So he's not there. So then she said, so then the DA was like, well, I only have one question. And he was like, well, what's your question? Why did you do it? Now, all Tasha had to, why would his best friend of 20 some years, why would he do it? All Tasha had to say was, I don't know. That's their business. They fell out over a girl. Like, she could have said any number of things. She gonna say, because I asked him to. Because, mind you, she had been trying to go with this whole self-defense situation. Well, nobody's fine that shit. So, Method Man was like, we already agreed. It doesn't matter. He told her, of course he told Tasha, shut the hell up. But he was like, we already agreed that if she named the person, that's what it was. So, he's trying to go with the original deal. So, the DA is like, mind you, Sachs and the other folks are in the DNC guy. They're all in the gallery. Sachs walks up to her with the warrant for the federal charges under the Queen Pen statute. Because once Tasha said that, well, because I asked him to. Once she said that, it was a wrap, right? Mind you, Tariq is there too, child. So the DA, he walks up to the DA and tells her what's going on. So the DA, moves to drop the charges. The judge was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, I'm sure. The judge was like, all right, well, I hope you know what you're doing. Baby, they dropped them local charges against Tasha and immediately arrest her on federal charges under the RICO statute as a Queen Pen. Tasha was like, what? Queen Pen? I ain't never run no damn drug. What the hell? You like? And she's looking at Sachs like, I don't know this. Like, this ain't right. And, of course, Tariq is looking crazy like, what the hell is going on? It was a whole lot of mess, honey. And then Method Man was like, listen, what the hell you done got me into? He was like, this was supposed to be a real easy 1, 2, 3, and you done got me into a federal case. Tariq was like, I just hated you the case of your life, the case of your career. And Method Man sort of looked at him like, yeah, you right, but I'm going to need that half meal. He said, because what you gave me was the appetizer. We done moved into the full-on entree right now. And that's the episode. It's pretty good. Again, it's pretty good. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.